Hey guys, I wanted to do a grain to glass on the Brewtubers yeast experiment. This is number 2. This is the Saison yeast. So this is actually the finished beer. And we'll do a tasting of that here in a few minutes. But I have the brew day footage. Just wanted to go through a couple of things before we get started with that, and then I will show you guys the brew day footage, and then I'll come back here at the end and we'll do a quick tasting of this and see how it turned out. So far I've been really happy with it. So this gets shipped out actually tomorrow. I'm the hub for this, so it's going to get shipped out tomorrow. We got everybody all in this past weekend, Father's Day weekend, so all the boxes are here, and then I'm going to repackage them up. This is Monday right after Father's Day, so I'm going to repackage them up, have them out late tomorrow afternoon, so they'll probably be out in the truck Wednesday morning. So that way everybody should have them by Friday to Saturday. Some of the furthest to go in South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. So the rest of them are all kind of the Northeast. But a couple of quick items. As you guys will see in the video, I do a quick shout out to our sponsors. I did want to mention that Brewing America has come on board since I did this video. So they're one of our 4 sponsors. So I mentioned 3 of them in the video. So I did want to mention that Brewing America is the newest sponsor. Hydrometers, cold coffee types of things, test jars, those types of things with it. So thank you very much to Brewing America. Also, if you haven't had a chance yet, we do have our own YouTube channel, the BWO, or Brew World Order. Leo from the Workshop Studios and Microbrewery has kind of taken that over and has created our own YouTube channel for Brewtubers. So if you're ever looking at that and say, you know, what are Brewtubers? This is kind of a cool little channel. They do basically a question and answer with guys that are in the club. Some of them are people that are actual office members. Some are just straight up just members of the club, don't hold any office, but have been kind of showing their if you want to call this a video blog, for years. They've been going through and just kind of talking about what they've been doing and where they've come from, and so Leo's done a great job with that. So if you haven't had a chance, make sure you check that out. It's really cool. He just finished up with Dave from Big Dog Brewing. I think he did Wally Feck, if you haven't seen his channel. I believe that was 2 episodes ago. I think I've gotten tagged to be the next one in it. So not a plug to watch me watch the other ones. Don't worry about my videos, but I did want to throw that out there because Leo's doing a really good job with it. So I want to throw that out there if you haven't had a chance. It's a fairly new channel. I think it's only got about 30 people that are subscribed to it right now. So trying to get that out there to people, especially people that are considering joining the club. It's kind of a good way to get to know who we are and what Brewtubers are all about. So wanted to throw that in there. So other than that, I think I will let you guys go. I've rambled here for 3 minutes of the intro, so I'll get you through the brew day footage, and then we'll pop back and do a quick tasting of this. So thanks for hanging with me. Up to almost 340 subscribers, so that's really cool. I think it was 11 months. We're coming up on 12 months. I think it started in July last year, so I'm amazed that anybody has the time to waste watching me ramble about brewing. So I appreciate it. Cool getting questions and comments, and just kind of a cool way to get to know people and from all over the country and all over the world. So if I can answer questions, or if you can get something out of it and learn something, and maybe I've made mistakes and you figured out something, it's a cool way to learn together as a community. So I appreciate it for everybody that's hung out with me and watched videos and subscribed. So thank you very much to everybody. And coming at you right now is the brew day footage, and then we'll come back and do our tasting. All right, guys. Cilantro. We'll catch you in a few. All right, guys. It's Sunday, May 2nd. I'm doing the Saison yeast experiment for Brewtubers. So a couple of quick items about it. I'll go through the recipe I've got here. So this is the recipe, and I'll give you a quick rundown of it, and then I'll give you a better shot of it here in a few minutes. But I wanted to do a grain to glass on this one. Doing the DKN as well as this, and actually thinking about signing up for the Belgian as well, which is going to be that's brew this month, and then I believe that is second week of July for shipping. So if you don't know about this, it's yeast experiments. We're doing 3 of them. Dropkick Nate, or Drop Kvike Nate. We're using all Kvike yeast. That's the first one. Shipping for that is actually going to happen this next week. The second one is the Saison, which I'm brewing today. Shipping for that happens in the first full week of June. And then the third one is the Belgian. That is going to be, again, shipping in the second full week of July. So we are all brewing the same overall recipe, distilled or RO water, and then building it the water profile up from that. So this is, again, the Saison Yeast experiment. So this is going to be at about a 5.5 gallon finished batch into the fermenter. It is got just a touch over 10 gallons of distilled water, 10 pounds Pilsner, just a touch over that, 1.7 over, 2.5 pounds of wheat malt, 7 ounces caramel crystal 60. We're using acid malt to bring our pH down a little bit. And then we got French trestle spalt, East Kent Goldings, and Fuddle to finish for our hops. I am using a Lallemand style yeast. I gotta look it up. I can't remember the numbers right off the top of my head, but it's a dry packeted yeast. So the original gravity is, we're shooting for 1064 with a final gravity of 1015. Again, depending on your yeast strain that you're using, that may change. I know I've seen Matt at Rec Brewing, he, I think, was down below 1010, maybe in the 1008, 1007 range, something like that. He just brewed his about a week and a half ago, so he's a little bit ahead of me on that, and he's using the tilt, so just showed up with that. So depending on which yeast strain and how much attenuation you get out of it, but those are the basics as you go through it. So it's 13 pounds, 3 ounces of total grain. We're mashing at 150. My system, I'm recirculating right now. I don't know if you can see the number here, probably not from the angle you're at. So I'm shooting for 158 for my strike water. That'll bring me down pretty close to that, and then it'll settle out a degree or two. If I got to bump it up or bring it down during the recycle, we'll have a problem as we're going through that. So other than that, kind of take you through. I got my grains crushed over here, and then we'll kind of take you through the brew day and get things going for you and see how things are going through the day. And then hopefully here in a week or two, we've got something we can taste and see how it goes, and then this is going to age a little bit before we ship it. It needs a little bit of time in the keg, so we'll get an idea of what we got. So hope everybody's doing well. If you haven't checked out Brewtubers, www.brewtubers.com. We're doing experiments like this typically every year, whether it's hops, yeast, malt we did last year. Really cool. Jump in. We actually have first Friday of every month at 9 p.m. We have our board meetings. It's open to everyone that wants to come. If you don't have to be a member, you can come once without being a member for that. So you can check those out, check us out, and see what you think. A bunch of Brewtubers around on YouTube, so you can kind of check around and see who's out there. Quick shout out to our sponsors, Beer and Wine. They provided the ingredients for this. I bought it right through them, so they have the entire kit. So if you're interested in brewing this, you can brew the same thing. They have all the stuff in stock. You can just have to order it by the volumes you need, depending on what your system looks for. Imperial yeast, a bunch of guys are using Imperial yeast for this as they're going through. Actually, Matt, maybe he used Rustic, I'm trying to remember as well. They're our official yeast sponsor, and then 5-Star Chemical. So I'll be using that here in a few minutes. Star Sand, PBW, clean up at the end. I just want to do a quick shout out and thanks for you guys being sponsors of the club. It makes a huge difference for us. Helps out with a bunch of different ways, but shipping these boxes around aren't the cheapest thing in the world. So really appreciate you guys being sponsors of the club and helping us out. Again, if anybody has any questions, throw them in the comments below. Any of the guys that are Brewtubers are huge fans of comments and going back and forth with questions and answers and those type of stuff. Very open group. Anybody is welcome. So throw questions in there in the comments down below if you have any as we're moving along with this. But I'll take you along with the ride as we move along. Okay, guys. Hope you're having a great one. Woodshed Brewing. All right. So this is that 13 pounds of grain. It's got a pretty good crush on it. Real nice job. Now I use a screen, so it's kind of the claw hammer design. So that'll be going into there. So I try to crush it pretty fine, and then I'll show you in a second. I basically have combined. It's a DIY system, but I basically combined two different systems. I've got the claw hammer design with the screen, and then the Brew Easy with it stacked on top of one another. So don't have a lot of space, but kind of take you through that and show you what I got here. So we'll get this in. So from there, that will come up. Oop, get a better job here on, and then that's going to sit right up on top of that. So we'll take you through there in just a second. So that's going to come up on top. I got my hose here. That's going to connect it to my top. So I've used just a sprayer head basically. The work will spray out of this. It's going to come right up on top of this. The handle down on the way. So my hose will come here. Got another hose for draining back into the boil kettle. So that starts my circulation as I'm going through this. So put this all together here. That guy's going to come back in here. Just kind of have to play with it a little bit here over the first, probably the first 5-10 minutes of this, just to get your rate right. So as that draws down, you're recycling back over the top. So it sprays over the top of the grain bed, drains down, out through, back into this, and then back around. And then the tower of power over here will then keep my temperatures where it's supposed to be. So again, 150 is what we're looking at for that. So we'll get that set, and actually I'm going to underlet that, so I apologize. I'm going to take that off. I'll underlet it, and I'll show you that here in just a second. All right, so I've got my bottom drain open, draining through the pump, back up through. So let's see, 150. It's going to probably steady out there about 155 or so, but we're coming in through, and we're coming up over the top. See if we can get a little view here. I don't know how well you can see that or not, but we are underletting here. So see if I can get a better view here for a second. Right down that side, we're underletting. So right now, maybe right up on the edges here, just coming up on that side, you can start seeing the water come up through. So underletting up through, we'll get a little mash paddle action going here in just a second. We'll get it mixed up. We'll show you how you go with that. And then we'll get ready to go. So we are heading in the right direction here. All right, so this is my way of doing it. Just a drill and a paint strainer. So I've gotten all but about 3 or 4 gallons transferred over into this. So we'll put this in and we'll give it a pretty good mix. Does a nice job getting a good amount of dough balls out, get a good mix on everything, and then we'll get a transfer started, recirculation. But we'll give it a good mix here for a minute or two, get everything good incorporated, everything mixed in pretty well, and then we'll go from there. So I'll bring you along here in a second as we're moving on. I'll show you the recirculation once we get things set to go here. All right, so we are in recirculation mode. So we're degree below, but close enough that will bring it up. It's actually, if you see the green button, it's actually heating. So I've got a little flame hitting it now, so that'll cycle it a little bit and bring it up. So we are recirculating through, so you can see that in the back, and then recirculating back over the top here. And this is the only thing that I have to kind of babysit a little bit, is just get my flow just about right. What I've found, and apologize, that's the so we're back up to 150 there. That's the warning that my natural gas is turning on, so that it's going to flame. So it's got a spark alarm. So about 45 degrees on that, and right about half a gallon. So she'll settle a little bit. So right in that half to 3/4 of a gallon mark. Pretty good flow. That I've got to just adjust a little bit. As the grain bed settles, it starts to slow it down. So just have to kind of play with the flow here on the Riptide pump. But tell you what, I love the fact that you've got flow control here, and there's no gate valve, so it's just simply turn that, adjust it. You can move to wherever you want it to be. So I'll go just a hair above 3/4. In between that gallon and 3/4 puts me in a pretty good position. So that's the flow we got coming over the top of that. So we're 149.9. I call that good. So 60-minute mark's going. I'll give it one more mix here. We'll get a sample, get a sample out of the port here, and we'll get a pH sample going here. Probably another, let's see, 2 or 3 minutes. That'll be probably a 10-minute mark, getting everything mixed in and good. I started the timer as the mix was going. So another couple of minutes and get a good recirculation going of it, and then we'll get a sample. All right, we will catch you guys probably end of mash as we're starting to drain. All right, so I told you I would give you the kind of the rundown, so give you the recipe and get you in a little bit quicker so you can see it, or a little bit closer I should say, so you can see it. So if you want the recipe, that is the recipe there. So I've got my boil brew out, got all my stuff ready to go. I gotta measure out my hops and stuff, but we were shooting for 5.3 to 5.4 with the pH, and I don't know if it'll close enough. You can see 5.4, so I'm going to take that. That is a win in my book. Again, it was 10.1 gallons distilled water, I believe, and this is going from memory, so I apologize if I'm wrong, but I believe it was 4 grams of calcium chloride, 3 grams of Epsom salt, and 0.08 grams of sea salt with 5.6, let's see, where is it? 5.6 ounces of acid malt. And that got us down to that 5.4. So it has steadied out. It's sitting at about 69 degrees, I think, 68 degrees, the sample itself. And she's sitting at 5.4. So I'm happy with that. So get my my hops and stuff ready to go. We are sitting 22 minutes left to go in the mash. We are 149.9, sitting right there at that 150 mark. So still looking pretty good in there. Nice little circulation, recirc going. A nice circulation over the top. Mixed it once already. Probably hit it a second time here, and we are right at that half a gallon. So she fluctuates a little bit. You just have to play with it a little bit, but so far so good. Everything seems to be going well. I have not taken any numbers or anything. Again, we're not that close yet to that point to take a pre-boil gravity reading to see where we're at and see if we're converting closely, but I do a double crush on my grains, and we'll see how things go. All right, we'll catch you as we get to that grain. So we just finished up the mash, and I'm just letting it drain out. So I'll give that basically just till the time I get close to the hot break, the foam starts to build here. I'll give it that amount of time to drain and go from there. If anybody's interested, I actually picked up this screen off of Walmart, so I could not find it anywhere else. I believe, I'll have to double check. Somewhere by memory, let's say 40 bucks is what I think it was. So again, I'm kind of ripping off the idea from Claw Hammer. I already had that kettle, so that's a 10-gallon kettle, so it gives you an idea in terms of what it fits into. So pretty good size. Comes with a nice little hook on the side, so you can see if you wanted to do that. I just hang it, so I don't like to have all the weight right on that hook. I'm not sure in terms of how the welds are on there, so I let it hook there so it kind of drains off to the side, and then I hang it from the ceiling to take the rest of the weight off. And again, that's 13 pounds of grain, dry 13 pounds plus whatever the absorption rate is. So weight wise, I don't like to have that all hanging on that edge. So but I'll let that drain out and then throw that out in the garden and just kind of compost it. So been very happy with it. Cleans up easy. Spray it down, a little soap and water, and she's in good shape. Let it air dry, and it's back ready for the next use. So also have used it for Whirlpool hops. One of the things that I've seen Gary, main brew guy, he has done, has a hop filter in his kettle, and hop utilization and using something like that guy right over there, in terms of how much work gets in there to mix in with the hops. So I'll use that for the boil, but for this, for whirlpooling, I'll actually put this right back into the boil kettle and then whirlpool right around it and put all my hops in there, and it's worked out really well. So I haven't done a side-by-side, so I don't know if utilization's better or not. It just seems like it's mixing better, so maybe it's just my brain, who knows. So all right, we will get back to you here when we're getting some hop drops, getting things ready to roll. All right, we have reached boil, got through the hot break. I just used my paddle to make sure I get all the hot break stirred up so we didn't have a boil, the foam coming over the top. So this is the first hop drop. So this is the 60-minute mark. That is 0.84 French Streusel and 0.42 of EKG. So That is the last hop drop until the 30-minute mark. So we'll get a good boil going here for 30 minutes, and then we'll be back and get you guys the next hop drop. So we'll try to make sure we catch them all today as we're going through it. So, all right, we'll catch you in 30. All right, we are at the 30-minute mark. So this is 0.84 of both EKG and French streusel. So in they go. All right, we have Whirl Flock at 15, and then another hop drop at 5. So we'll catch either Whirl Flock or the hop drop. Probably we'll skip the Whirl Flock. So, all right, guys. All right, last hop drop. This is 0.84 Fuggles. All right, got to get the chiller in and start recirculating here. So we'll show you that here in just a second. We got 5 minutes left in the boil. Need to get that all sanitized. All right, so I got it. This is my whirlpool arm going around. So work is coming out the bottom, up through the pump, out back, through the whirlpool arm, and then back in here. And then I've got the chiller here. I've not turned it on as of yet. So you can see the temperature climbing there a little bit as it's coming up through the system. So you'll see as it goes up through. So I'm sanitizing it. It's got 3.5 minutes left on the boil. So that's coming up and adjusting to that stuff being in there. So we'll sanitize everything for the last 3.5 minutes. All right, so Lallemand Belle Saison. That's the yeast we're using for this one. So quick dunk. Make sure we're all set and sanitized. Sprinkle it right on top. All right, there she is. Put it in the firm chamber, and we'll get a test here of what our final gravity was here in just a minute. All right, this is it. Very pretty beer. Very happy with it so far. I don't know if I can get that. There we go. Calling it 1053. I missed my numbers a little bit, but I'm really high on volume, so I ended up with a little over 6.5, almost 7 gallons. So that's probably why. So not quite sure. I didn't put it into my profile. I just used the recipe that was online and followed it through. So I'm guessing that's probably why I'm low on my numbers. So I'm not terrible off, but not where I'm supposed to be. So, but very pretty. Like it so far. So we shall see how things kick off and get going. So it's all tucked away in the fermenter and ready to roll. So give it a little time. We'll get it kegged up and then see if we can't do a tasting. All right. We'll catch you a week or two, I guess. All right, guys. Let's launch it. All right. So you got a chance to see the brew day. You saw that I was a little off on my numbers. Not quite there. I think that was a screw up on my part because I should have taken the recipe and put it into Beersmith and then put it into my profile, my brewing profile. And that was a screw up on my part. Just didn't even think about it. Just downloaded it. Made sense. Everything fit into what I had. And I think losses and too much into the fermenter. Ends up being a really good beer. This is the actual. I don't know if you can see through. It's starting to clear up. We did not use any Whirl Flock, so that'll give you a good idea. No Whirl Flock. This is, again, a yeast experiment, so we want to see what does the yeast do. What does it impart in flavor-wise? What does it impart in terms of clarity? Does it flocculate out well on its own? If looking at this, if I were to go ahead and throw gelatin into this, I think this would be brilliantly clear. It's been in the keg. I did a set it and forget it, so it's been in the keg, and I don't have the numbers right here on me. Oh, I'm probably pushing it was before Memorial Day I kegged it. So good couple of weeks, and I want to just let the carbonation come up. And I typically run mine at about 12 PSI, 10 to 12 on my draft system. So it's got some nice bubbles coming up. I don't know if I can see. There you go. I don't know if it'll come in on it or not, but you can definitely see the bubbles coming up. So it's got good carbonation. Not a lot of head retention. I did pour this before, but it's got just a little bit there. So in terms of the nose, what I typically get out of a Saison It's the best way I describe it as a slight Belgian character. It's not like punch you in the face, bubble gum or banana or clove, those types of things that you sometimes get out of a Hefeweizen or a really strong in your face Belgian, but it's got a nice subtle Belgian. Maybe a little cracker, more of the malts coming through. There's slight spiciness in that Saison, but not a lot there. All right, cilantro, guys. Follows along with that. I really like this. This is an excellent recipe. Gary, main brew guy, did this recipe. I believe it's his personal recipe. I really like it. It's excellent. So I would definitely brew this again. It's a really nice dry summer beer. I believe I finished out at, I should have this with me, I apologize. I believe I ended up at about 10.08 was my final gravity. So it's a fairly dry beer. A lot of my ales do not finish below that 10.10. So Saison, and I fermented this in the just about 70, 72. I bumped it up just slightly. Didn't go crazy. I didn't want to get a lot of the phenolics out of it. I wanted to kind of keep it neutral as it went through. But you get a little bit of that spice, a little of that, sometimes people call it funk, but a little of that spice through it. Nice crackery type of malt flavor there. Got some nice lacing. Does a nice job. Overall, really happy with this beer. It's kind of a really nice middle of the road. Not crazy into the Saison characters, but there's definitely a Saison character there. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. Hopefully it's much better than my Dropkick Nate. I was not happy with how that turned out. That was poor on my part. So hopefully this is a much better statement as me as a brewer. Not by any means the best brewer in the world, but this is a much better statement than what my Kvike was. So definitely got to go rebrew that again. But so should be seeing more and more reviews of the Dropkick Nate coming out. I know a bunch of guys have finished their videos. They're just working on editing it now, so you'll probably see a bunch of those come out. I've got 2 left to go. Just gotten crazy here with Father's Day and stuff. So I'll finish those up. I think it's Jerry and Gary, both my rhyming guys. So I got to finish those up and I'll get those posted. And then these, like I said, will be in people's hands by this coming weekend. So people will start doing reviews on that. So probably start seeing it, I would imagine, after the 4th of July, with that coming up here fairly quick. People will probably drink them over the 4th, but do the videos and then probably pump them out after that. So I appreciate it. I know this is a long video, so thanks for staying with me. I appreciate that. I hope everybody had a great Father's Day. All the dads out there. Again, if you're interested in brewing and being part of Brewtubers, great group of guys. Check out BWO Brewing World Order. Leo will be having that stuff up. There's a new episode out there. Lots of information there. Again, thanks to all of our sponsors, all 4 of them. Imperial Beer and Wine, 5-Star, and Brewing America. Been great having them part of the group. Hooking us up with a lot of really cool stuff for these experiments. So learning a lot, getting to know a bunch of the new folks in the group. We got different podcasts going on, so there's lots and lots of stuff happening there. Lots of different ways to get to know people. So don't feel like you're not on the ground floor and I don't know anybody in the group. Jump in. Super nice people, always welcoming. Love to have new folks. So if you're interested, jump in, www.brewtubers.com. Learn about us. Jump in the Discord. Just be able to just talk brewing. Throw a question out there. People love to talk brewing, so get to know a bunch of the folks that are there. Lots of great people. So, all right, guys, I will quit rambling. Hope everybody has a good one. Cilantro, guys. I will catch you on the next one here. Hope everybody has a great 4th of July if I don't talk before then. All right, guys. Cilantro.